The sun, a relentless hammer, beats against the corrugated metal roof of the border patrol station in the desert. Dust, fine as powdered bone, coats every surface, clinging to the grimy windows, silting the vents of the ancient air conditioning unit that groans more than it cools. You trace a finger through the accumulated grit on your desk, watching the pale line appear, then slowly fade as the air currents reclaim it. This is your world now, Marcus Thorne, a desolate outpost where time stretches thin, indistinguishable from the shimmering mirage on the horizon. You remember other horizons, the city's jagged skyline, the glint of streetlights on wet asphalt, the frantic pulse of life you once navigated with an almost predatory grace. That life feels like a story told to someone else, a ghost's tale whispered in the dry wind. Your uniform, a faded khaki, hangs loosely on your frame, a stark contrast to the tailored suits you once wore, badges gleaming. The weight of a different badge, the one you earned, the one you lost, still presses against your chest, and phantom ache. A framed photograph, tucked behind a stack of outdated reports, offers a glimpse into that past. It's a grainy newspaper clipping, yellowed at the edges, depicting a woman with sharp, intelligent eyes and a determined set to her jaw. An investigative journalist. Her name, etched in your memory, is a silent accusation. Her unsolved murder, a random act, they said. A mugging gone wrong. You knew better, even then. It was the case that swallowed you whole, spitting out a hollowed-out shell, stripped of your rank, your reputation, your purpose. You traced the journalist's smile, a bitter irony given the silence that followed her. The distant drone of an approaching vehicle breaks the monotony, a low hum growing into a rumble. It's not the usual patrol truck, not the rattling pickups of migrants or smugglers. This sound is different, smoother, more deliberate. You push yourself away from the desk, the cheap plastic chair groaning in protest. The heat outside is a physical presence, a suffocating blanket, but something else prickles the air now, an unfamiliar tension, a shift in the desert's vast, indifferent gaze. A sleek, black sedan, incongruous against the ochre landscape, pulls up, kicking a plume of dust into the searing air. Its windows are tinted, opaque mirrors reflecting the harsh sun. He moves with an efficient, almost clinical precision, his eyes scanning the station's meager facade before settling on you. He carries no briefcase, no obvious identification, yet his presence radiates authority, a quiet power that feels alien here. Marcus Thorne, the man states, his voice surprisingly soft, yet cutting through the dry air like a honed blade. It's not a question. You nod, your gaze unwavering. And you are? An aide, he replies, offering no name, no further detail. He steps closer, his polished shoes crunching on the gravel. We have an offer for you. From an interested party. Your jaw tightens. Offers in this place are usually for overtime, or a transfer to an even more remote station. This feels different. The air crackles with an unspoken history. I'm not interested in offers, aide. My days of interest are behind me. A faint, almost imperceptible smile plays on his lips. This isn't about your current employment, Marcus Thorne. This is about a case. A very old case. The photograph, the yellowed clipping, flashes in your mind's eye. Your breath hitches. He knows. He knows about her. Dismissed as a random act, wasn't it? The aide continues, his voice carefully neutral, yet laced with a knowing edge. But some truths, Marcus, have a way of resurfacing. especially when they threaten to unravel a presidential campaign. The dust motes dance in the shaft of light slanting through the doorway, oblivious to the storm brewing within you. Redemption. Justice. Or perhaps, just the agonizing truth that once shattered your world, now reaching out to pull you back into its vortex. What if? The aide watches you, patient, his eyes like chips of obsidian. He's waiting for the hook to set, for the old, determined Marcus Thorne to stir beneath the layers of disillusionment. You feel it, a flicker, a spark of the fire you thought long extinguished. The weight of the badge, the real one, the one that meant something, presses against your chest again, this time with a promise. You look at the aide, then out at the endless, indifferent landscape. The game, it seems, has found you again. The obsidian gaze of the aide holds you captive, a silent challenge mirroring the one that now begins to stir within your own weary depths. The spark, a tiny ember fanned by the desert wind of his proposition, promises not warmth, but a searing heat you'd long avoided. Redemption. The word tastes like ash, yet it holds a strange, undeniable allure. What's the catch? You finally voice, the words rough, and used to the open air. Your voice, a rasp against the quiet hum of the engine, carries the weight of years spent in self-imposed exile. The aide offers a faint, almost imperceptible smile, a ripple in his otherwise placid demeanor. No catch, Marcus Thorne. Only an opportunity. A chance to see what you missed. To set right what was left broken. He gestures towards the window, the city lights fading into a distant haze as the vehicle veers onto a less traveled road. Our next stop is private. For sensitive matters. The drive is long, the landscape transforming from urban sprawl to the stark, moon-drenched expanse of the desert. The air grows colder, sharper, carrying the scent of dust and distant creosote. Your thoughts churn, a vortex of doubt and a nascent, unsettling curiosity. This isn't just about a cold case, it's about a ghost that has gnawed at your periphery for too long. The journalist. The one you failed. When the vehicle finally slows, gravel crunching under the tires, you find yourself before a low, squat building, its silhouette stark against the vast, star-strewn canvas of the night sky. This is no ordinary office. The isolation feels deliberate, a stage set for secrets. Inside, the air is stale, smelling of disinfectant and old paperwork. The aide leads you to a small, windowless room. A metal table stands in the center, stark and functional. On it, a single, unassuming manila folder rests, thick with the promise of forgotten truths. The initial files, the aide states, his voice low, almost a whisper in the confined space. Everything from the original investigation. And some supplementary material. He slides a small, unmarked USB drive across the table, its metallic gleam catching the dim overhead light. Encrypted. Password is your old badge number. You reach for the folder, your fingers brushing against the rough cardboard. A tremor, faint but undeniable, runs through you. This isn't just paper, it's a doorway back to a past you tried to bury. You open it, the scent of aged documents rising to meet you. The first few pages are familiar, police reports, witness statements, crime scene photos, the brutal tableau of the journalist's final moments. You skim, your mind already connecting the dots you'd drawn years ago, the dead ends you'd encountered. But then, as you turn a page, a name jumps out. A junior campaign strategist, listed as a peripheral contact in the journalist's phone log. A nobody back then. Now, his face graces news channels, a rising star in the current presidential campaign. Your brow furrows. A coincidence? You flip further, your eyes scanning the dense text. You pull out the USB drive, slotting it into a compact laptop the aide provides. The screen flickers to life, demanding the password. Your old badge number. The digits, etched into your memory, feel heavy as you type them. The drive unlocks, revealing a trove of digital files. One folder is simply labeled Timeline. You open it. It's a meticulously compiled chronology, cross-referencing events from the original murder investigation with the current political landscape. The journalist's last known meeting, a clandestine rendezvous in a downtown cafe, is paired with a date. Just days before a pivotal fundraising event for the now prominent politician. A small, almost insignificant detail from the journalist's notes, a mention of the architect's blueprint, is cross-referenced with architectural plans for a controversial development project, a project recently pushed through by the very politician in question. The connections are faint, like spider silk, almost invisible until light catches them just right. But once seen, they begin to form a disturbing web. The journalist wasn't chasing a random story, they were digging into something deep, something that touches the very foundations of power. You look up, your gaze meeting the aide's. He knew. He brought you here, to this desolate outpost, to show you this precise, unsettling truth. It's merely been frozen, waiting for the right moment, the right person, to thaw it. And that person, you realize with a jolt that settles deep in your bones, is you. The weight of the badge, the real one, the one you'd earned and then lost, presses down on you anew. The fire, long extinguished, now burns with a fierce, dangerous heat. This isn't just about redemption anymore. This is about justice. The folder's dry scent still clings to your fingers as you scan the reports. Political affiliations, a complex web of names you'd once dismissed as peripheral, now snag your attention like thorns. The journalist, brilliant and relentless, had been digging into these same connections. A chilling echo, a whisper from the past, suggests their death was no random act of violence, but a calculated silence. The coordinates scribbled on a faded napkin, tucked into the file's final pages, ignite a forgotten spark. They lead you to a place you hoped never to see again. The desert wind is a physical force against your skin, a dry rasping breath that carries the scent of dust and distant mesquite. Years have carved their signature into the corrugated metal, rust blooming like a slow disease across its surfaces. Sand has crept over the foundations, claiming the abandoned outpost, blurring the lines between structure and earth. The silence here is immense, broken only by the wind's mournful sigh and the crunch of your boots on the sun-baked ground. This is where it happened. You walk the perimeter, your eyes tracing the ghost lines of an investigation you led a lifetime ago. The original crime scene tape is long gone, dissolved by sun and time, but you feel its invisible barrier. The air grows heavy with memory, with the spectral presence of the journalist's final moments. You recall the initial search, the frantic energy, the desperate hope for a lead that never materialized. Now, with new eyes, you search again, meticulously, painstakingly. Beneath a crumbling section of a concrete barrier, where the sand has drifted deepest, something catches your eye. A glint, almost swallowed by the grit. You kneel, digging with bare hands, the coarse sand abrading your skin. Your fingers close around a small, tarnished metal disc. It's no larger than a silver dollar, its surface scratched and dull. On one side, barely visible beneath the grime, an intricate compass rose is etched, its needle pointing due west. On the reverse, a series of seemingly random letters and numbers, 40.75 ADN, 73.9855 W, GL 10/17. It's an anomaly, something missed in the initial chaos. The disc warm in your palm, a current of urgency courses through you. These aren't just numbers, they're coordinates, and a date. But the location, a familiar one, doesn't match the desert. It points to a city, far to the east and GL? You drive until the desert's vastness gives way to the scattered lights of a small town, a place where time seems to crawl. You seek out the former patrol chief, a man whose face, etched with years of sun and hard living, you remember from the original inquiry. He's found solace in a dusty diner, nursing lukewarm coffee. Marcus Thorne, the former chief says, his voice a gravelly murmur, without a hint of surprise. His eyes, the color of faded denim, hold a weariness that goes beyond simple fatigue. Didn't think I'd see you back here, not after all this time. The case is open again, you state, placing the metal disc on the formica tabletop between you. The journalist. This was found at the station. He glances at the disc, then back at you, a flicker of something unreadable in his gaze. That case was closed. Did they talk to you about it? The former chief sets his mug down with a soft clink. Some things are best left buried, Thorne. Especially when the people who want 'em buried got long arms and deep pockets. His eyes meet yours, a direct, unspoken warning. You start digging up old dirt, you might find yourself in a hole you can't climb out of. Who, you demand? Your grip tightening on the disc in your pocket. He shakes his head slowly. Doesn't matter. They're everywhere. Just let it lie, Marcus. The casual threat, the knowing look, the immediate recognition of the disc's significance, it all coalesces into a stark realization. And now, those same forces were watching you. The coordinates on the disc, a silent testament to a journalist's final, desperate act, demand your attention. The past is not buried, it's waiting, and the game has just begun.